Hello and welcome to another episode of Simply Saturday. My name is Julie and this is Stamp with Julie Baum. We're going to be using some fun products today to make our fast and easy card. I have some measurements for you, so let me get those for you and we're going to get started. I have a card base out of Pool Party, and this one is 4 1/4 by 11. I am going to show you another card during this episode, and it is 8 1/2 by 5 1/2. So it's just a different direction. All right. So you're going to need a card base, and then you're going to need 2 pieces of basic white cardstock that are each 4 inches by 5 1/4 inches. That's this. And then you're going to need a piece of designer series paper that is 3 3/4 inches by 4 1/2 inches. All right, so that's what we're using. I am using the, I want to say, let me tell you what the name of this is so I don't tell you mistakenly. Floral Delight. This is the Floral Delight 12 by 12 paper. Right now, Floral Delight is currently unavailable, but it's coming back the week of April 7th. So because this is the weekend right before that, I would start checking today. Sometimes it comes in early, and if you're not watching for it, it can actually sell out again even before the time that it was expected. So start looking for that. Here is the item number for that paper, okay? All right, I'm also going to be showing you, as I mentioned, a second card. It is with a different color combination. One of these colors is Moody Mauve, which is one of the in colors that is going to retire, and also the designer series paper that coordinates with that. That paper is called Wildly Flowering. And I just looked it up right now, and it is not showing that it is on the last chance list. It is still available. So at least for now, I would say that it is a safe bet that you can still get this. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my designer series paper and I'm going to choose an embossing folder. Now, I'm using the Distressed Tile 3D embossing folder, which is on the last chance list. It's only $9. Please add that to your order before it's too late. All right, I'm going to take my designer series paper, put it inside the embossing folder, and I am going to run this through my machine to get my impression on here. So hold on just a moment while I do that. As I mentioned, this is a 3D folder, and so you'll make your little sandwich layer in your machine a little bit different. You only need a 1 plate, and then the embossing folder with the paper in it, and then the 4 plate. So be sure to make that adjustment when you run it through your machine. All right, so now what we've done is we have created this yummy texture right on our patterned paper. Really, really cool. All right, I'm going to take my trimmer here. You can use your Stampin' trimmer with the cutting blade, and we're going to cut this piece down into 3 equal pieces that are each 1 1/2 inch. So I'm going to cut and do the second piece, second cut. Now I have 3 pieces that are 1 1/2 inches. All right, these are going to get glued onto this white panel. And what I wanted to do was mark the center of this just to give me an indication when I put my papers on that it's really, really centered. So what I did is I'm gonna move it down here on my ruler where I can see better. It's going to be at 2 5/8 inches. Okay, so I've got my little pencil mark there to indicate the center of this. Now, if you don't want to do that and you want to eyeball it, that's totally fine. Okay, so keeping these pieces in the order that they were, I'm going to start with the middle piece and put my adhesive on there, and then I'm going to put it right here in the middle of my white panel. And I'm looking at the top and the bottom to have an equal white border, and I'm lining the center of this piece with my pencil mark, and that is as tough as it gets. I can erase that pencil mark now and go ahead and add the other two pieces, one on the right, one on the left, and just looking at your spacing between the papers and the edge of the white cardstock. All right, there's that one and this one. So all of the fanciful parts of this are coming from our beautiful designer series paper that now has this great texture to it. Like so. Oh my goodness, it's really, really quite effective and so easy to do. Okay, now we're going to glue that onto our card base. So I did a 4 1/4 by 11. This card is going to open this way, and then I will show you a second version. All right, this is going to get centered here on my pool party card base. Like so. I'm going to flip this whole thing over so I can press it, make sure that all of my pieces are stuck down. All right, we're going to put a greeting on the front, and for this I decided not to use the coordinating stamp set to that paper. The words that are available in here, although really nice and I've used quite a bit, aren't quite what I had in mind for this card. So the stamp set that I'm using for this card is this one, which is Wildflower Designs. And I am using the word stamp that says "You've been on my mind." All right, this has some ink on it. I'm going to make sure I clean that off because I'm probably going to use Old Olive ink to pull out the green from the leaves. And then let me show you the piece that we're going to stamp on. Okay, this literally arrived in my Stampin' Up order about 10 minutes ago. UPS came to my door with a lovely big box of free and discounted merchandise because that's why I'm a demonstrator, aside from loving what I do. I have wanted this little die set for a little while, and it was on my wish list, and it finally made it to my home. It's called Textured Notes Dies, and I am using this one. All right, so I'm going to cut that out of a scrap of white cardstock. So hold on one more moment. All right. What I love about this die set and what I was so excited about is these little rectangles in multiple sizes that are going to look so good with greetings and sentiments. So look at that texture around the edge. It's just amazing. Now, we're doing a fast and simple, fast and easy card. If you don't want to do this step, or you don't have the textured notes dies yet, then you can use a rectangle of white cardstock that is about 2 3/4 inches by about 1 1/8. That will give you about this size. Okay, I'm going to use Old Olive ink. And, well, maybe I'll use the blue. Maybe I'll use Pool Party since we have a Pool Party base. Let me see which one I think is going to look best. Here's both. I'm going to stick with green. All right, here we go. All right, because I had some ink on this and I cleaned it and now I'm using green, I am going to give this a quick practice stamp on a scratch paper that I had right here. Okay, that's the look we want. All right, so right onto that die cut piece, like so. Beautiful. I love the script. I love that it has the detail around the edge, and look at how beautiful that's going to be. All right, let's stick that on with a couple of dimensionals. And then we'll put an inside piece. And I'll show you version number 2. Okay, there we go. Once again, you could add some more embellishments to this, but as a fast and easy card, I am not going to. But I am going to take a white panel and put it on the inside. And let's go ahead and put a stamp on the inside. Now is when we'll use our pool party, just to have a little decoration on the inside. You've already got the stamp set out and you've got your inks. Cute. All right. So for today's fast and easy card, I really wanted to show you what it looks like to take your designer series paper and run it through an embossing folder. Depending on the pattern of your paper and also the embossing folder that you choose, you're going to get a different look. So you can really experiment with that and see what comes of it. All right, let me show you the other card that I made. And this one is using the Wildly Flowering paper and that Moody Mauve cardstock. And that one came out like this. I really like this one, but I think this one is my favorite one. I love how the tiled texture, did I call it the right thing? How that embossing folder looks on there. I just think it looks so good, the way it pushes that impression into the paper. Of course, we've talked about this. And then on the inside, I also just did a quick little stamp in boho blue. So this is boho blue ink, Moody Mauve cardstock, and the Wildly Flowering designer series paper. That is what I have to share with you today. It's been my pleasure to do so. I will put some information for you below this video in the drop-down description box. And if you have any comments or questions, please do reach out. I always read everything that you send me, and I'm very happy to respond. Until next time, happy stamping.